In this video, I'll be talking about my first impressions of the Go 3 from Insta360 and my experiences I've had thus far. This is actually my first time using a product from Insta360, so all the experiences I've had from buying the product from them to getting used to the interface on the Go 3 has been new. I found out about this camera from Instagram, which I'm sure is the same for a lot of others, as you might have seen just how many other people are talking about this camera. And there have been so many positive reviews of this camera. And don't get me wrong, this camera definitely has some things going for it, and it's not terrible by any means. But I just want to say it's far from perfect, and it definitely has its problems, which I haven't seen many people talk about. A quick disclaimer before I get into this video, I bought the Go 3 mainly as a camera to record my POVs and my photo walks whenever I'm out in the city taking pictures. I'll also be using it to grab quick clips for B-roll for videos and social media. I'm not taking this camera with me to go run a marathon or to go surfing, so if you're interested in this camera for those type of activities, this video might not be that helpful to you. However, if you're interested in this camera for slower paced action like walking, or you're also a photographer looking to add a POV camera to your kit, then maybe I'll be able to help you make your decision. For the main portion of this video, I'll be splitting it into 3 sections. What I like about the camera, what I'm indifferent about, and what I dislike about the camera. Starting with what I like about the Go 3. Starting with what I like about the Go 3 so far, the main thing that drew me to the camera is that it's very small and portable. One problem that I had with the GoPro 10 was that despite it being pretty small, whenever I would put it on my chest mount to go for a photo walk, it was just too noticeable in my opinion. I'd have to put the chest mount over my shirt, then have the GoPro coming out from the chest mount. Having that entire system around me while carrying my camera and lens around was just too much for me personally. You can make the point of wearing something over your t-shirt, such as a jacket or so, to cover up the GoPro mount, which I actually did do a couple of times, but when it's summer and it's 90+ degrees outside, I'd rather not have to deal with that. With the Go 3, I can just wear the magnetic pendant, which goes under whatever shirt you have on, attach the Go 3 to it, and I'm done. It's a very simple and quick process. One little complaint that I have about the magnetic pendant though, is that for some reason the Go 3 doesn't want to go in the middle. I can only get it to go on the upper top area or the lower bottom area. It's not too big of a deal, but it just feels that it's more susceptible to getting knocked off as opposed to if it were in the middle. But what do I know? Speaking of accessories, this actually brings me to the next like I have about the Go 3. The ability to attach the camera to a variety of things without the need for additional attachments. With the GoPro system, it uses a screw-in system, which gets annoying to screw and unscrew if you need to take off your GoPro to swap batteries or to swap accessories. But that's not all. With the GoPro, you also need to buy 3 or 4 different additional accessories like the chest mount, head strap mount, magnetic swivel clip, and etc., which also adds more to the cost. With the Go 3, I appreciate the magnetic pendant and the clip they give you along with the Go 3 itself. Along with the free attachments they give you, the ability to attach the Go 3 to just about any magnetic surface around you can help you easily get clips without having to worry about carrying anything extra, which is a huge plus for me. You just snap it on somewhere and you can get the footage you want. More specifically for me, B-roll footage of myself walking around the city or a clip of me getting pictures. The next thing I like about the Go 3 is actually the compatibility with the Insta360 app. I found it pretty easy to connect the app to the camera and get it working. From there, I can view all the footage I got on the Go 3, quickly edit some clips, and even view the camera from my phone. Though honestly, it's probably not something I'd really use a lot, but I enjoy how simple it was to use and get through. One thing I really don't like though is you have to connect the Go 3 every single time you use the app, which takes a bit of time and honestly is quite annoying. If they made the connecting time quicker or somehow made it where you only connect the Go 3 to the app only once and be done with it, then it'd be less annoying. But again, I really don't plan on using it much. I just wanted to mention it as it's something some of y'all might want to know. Moving on to the next section about the things I'm indifferent about with this camera, the first feature is the internal memory. At first I actually liked this because this meant I didn't have to worry about buying or forgetting to bring a micro SD card. The memory is all internal, so that's one hurdle I don't ever have to think about. But with that feature comes a problem. Because the memory is internal, if I ever forget to make space between shoots, I'll eventually run out of space and I won't be able to simply switch micro SDs since it's all internal. So that's something I have to work around, but hopefully it won't be too much of a problem. The next feature I'm indifferent about is the lack of 4K in the Go 3, which may surprise some people. There's probably some people saying, well, 4K is better quality. Why wouldn't this bother you? And well, yeah, you're totally right about that. It's as simple as that. But as I mentioned before, I'm mainly using this camera as a POV cam for my photo walks, so I don't really need the 4K as much as the 4K would be nice to have. So at the moment, it doesn't really bother me too much. But you're right, when the time comes when I want to use this for future projects, the better quality that comes with the 4K footage will definitely be missed. It also doesn't help that slow-mo at 120 FPS can only be shot in 1080p, and free frame video mode can only be shot in 1440p. But a slight positive about not shooting in 4K, the battery on the Go 3 probably lasts longer shooting in 2.7K as opposed to if it were to be able to shoot in 4K. Which actually is a good way to lead into the first of the negatives to the Go 3, which is the battery life. Before I go more in depth about why I dislike the battery life of the Go 3, let me first explain a bit about how it works. With this camera, there's the actual camera and the action pod. If you put the Go 3 in the action pod, the Go 3 will start charging, so you can think of the action pod also as a charging bank. When the action pod itself runs out of juice, you can charge that via the standard way you usually charge things. And because the camera has an internal battery and you can't just switch it out for another battery, you have to charge it when it dies. No ifs or buts. But getting back to why I dislike the battery life of the Go 3, the action pod itself is fine. When you take the Go 3 out of the action pod, it lasts for only 45 minutes max for one recording. When I go on photo walks and I want to record the walk, I'll have the footage for the first 45 minutes. But once the battery dies, that'll basically leave me with nothing for 30 minutes until the battery can charge back to 100%. Then it's rinse and repeat until the action pod itself dies, which hasn't happened to me yet, but I think you can recharge the Go 3 3 times or so to 100% before the action pod runs out. A work around this would be to record at times when I think are important during the photo walk, but the problem with that is now I have to worry about something else during my photo walk. And when I'm out taking my photos, I want to be focused on my photography, not about the camera or my chest or anything like that. And if any one of you guys know about street photography, is that things are so unpredictable that it's basically impossible to know when things are going to happen. So you can't really guess or predict moments like that. The next problem I have with the Go 3 is the startup time. It takes the camera way too long to start up, which becomes annoying real fast. When turning on the camera from off to on, the screen takes a while to come on from the moment you touch the power button. This can be very frustrating for when I want to get B-roll clips quickly and I'm moving from area to area, or if I ever want to use this camera for some future video projects. For photo walks, it's actually not too much of a problem as I just need to press the record and attach it to my chest. However, if I'm in the middle of a photo walk and I want to put it back on quickly after the camera is done charging, then it can quickly become pretty annoying. But even if it wasn't an issue during photo walks, for how long it takes, I just had to put it in this dislike section. It's really just something that frustrates the hell out of me. The last point I want to make is the uncertainty I have with this camera when talking about its reliability. Now I can't confirm this as a problem yet, and since it's only happened once so far, I'll give it a pass for now, but I still have to put it in the dislike section. On one of the first photo walks I had testing this camera out, I came across this issue when recording. During this first photo walk, I was recording multiple clips as opposed to just one straight clip like I do now. So I don't know if that was the reason why this clip became all jittery and weird like this, but because of this, I've been a bit worried about this camera. So far, I haven't had this problem happen in any of my other footage, but just having experienced this is making me worried about future footage. So I hope it's just a one-time thing and I'm just being paranoid about this issue. If you have the Go 3 and you know why this happened, please let me know in the comments. Now that I've gone over some positives and negatives of the Go 3, I want to quickly highlight the cost. The Go 3 comes in 3 different prices depending on the internal memory you choose. $380 for 32 gigabytes, $400 for 64 gigabytes, and $430 for 128 gigabytes. Along with the internal memory options, you can choose a different type of kits as well that include accessories you might want for specific activities like swimming or biking. Comparing that to the GoPro 11, which you'd be looking at $400 for the camera alone, and $450 for the accessories bundle, which don't include any other accessories you might want along with it. So now looking back after experiencing both the GoPro and the Go 3, do I still think the Go 3 is worth buying, especially over something like the GoPro? Well, to skip all the BS, I'd say yes. For me, it's worth buying still, especially for how I plan on using the camera. But if I were to give a more complicated answer, in my opinion, I think even though both cameras are marketed as action cameras, I personally think they have different usages. If you want a camera that is able to shoot in better quality such as 4K or have a better low light performance, the GoPro 11 is definitely the way to go. However, if you want to go with a highly versatile camera capable of getting footage efficiently and discreetly, then the Go 3 is a choice. All in all, even though I bought the Go 3 as a do-it-all POV small camera, I might actually end up getting the GoPro 11 still, especially if I'm able to find one on sale, either used online or when it eventually goes on sale later this year when the GoPro 12 releases. That way, depending on what type of footage I want, I can go with either the Go 3 or the GoPro. Well, that's all for me in this video. Keep in mind, while these are the main points I want to talk about in this video, these aren't the only positives or negatives this camera has. They're just the ones that I've noticed that affect me the most. There are definitely other points you might want to watch out for, such as the action pod for the Go 3 not being waterproof, just in case you wanted to use it during a day at the beach, or the kinds of attachments you can get for the Go 3. But if you want to know more about that, you can probably find a video from someone else here on YouTube that has way more experience about that than me. I hope you found my impressions of the Go 3 helpful. If you have any questions or you used the Go 3 before, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Later.